In today's video, I wanted to begin my journey through the main questline featured in the Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. This game has a wonderful story to tell, and I'm going to go in depth with it and be as thorough as possible. I'm going to tell the tale of each quest and detail the Dragonborn's rise to power. Along the way, there will be various NPCs, encounters, and settings that help to shape and explain the in-game universe. Without further ado, let's begin. The world opens up and immediately, the player is thrown into the game. My character awakens and sees that they're in the back of some horse-drawn carriage, which is being led by Imperial soldiers. Riding along in the back with me are a few captured Stormcloak rebels. All of our hands are bound and things aren't looking very good for us.
Hey, you're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? Walked right into that Imperial ambush, same as us. And that thief over there.
Damn you Stormcloaks. Skyrim was fine until you came along. Empire was nice and lazy. If they hadn't been looking for you, I could have stolen that horse and been halfway to Hammerfell. You there, you and me, we shouldn't be here. It's these Stormcloaks the Empire wants.
We're all brothers and sisters in binds now, thief.
Shut up back there.
What's wrong with him, huh?
Watch your tongue. You're speaking to Ulfric Stormcloak, the true High King.
Ulfric? The Jarl of Windhelm? You're the leader of the rebellion. But if they've captured you... Oh gods, where are they taking us?
I don't know where we're going, but Sovngarde awaits.
No, this can't be happening. This isn't happening.
Hey, what village are you from, horse thief?
Why do you care?
A Nord's last thoughts should be of home.
Rorikstead. I'm from Rorikstead.
General Tullius, sir. The headsman is waiting.
Good. Let's get this over with.
Sure. Mara, Dibella, Kinnereth, Akatosh, Divines, please help me.
It's here that some of Skyrim's in-universe conflicts and struggles are further introduced.
Look at him. General Tullius, the military governor. And it looks like the Thalmor are with him. Damn elves. I bet they had something to do with this.
It's also here that the audience gets a little bit of insight into where they're being taken to.
This is Helgen. I used to be sweet on a girl from here. Wonder if Vilod is still making that mead with juniper berries mixed in. Funny. When I was a boy, Imperial walls and towers used to make me feel so safe.
It's apparent too that even most of the villagers know what's about to happen.
Where are they going?
To go inside, little cub.
Why? I want to watch the soldiers.
Inside the house. Now.
Whoa.
Yes, Papa.
Get these prisoners out of the carts. Move it!
Why are we stopping?
Why do you think? End of the line.
The cart pulls in, and one by one, the prisoners start to file out.
Let's go. Shouldn't keep the gods waiting for us.
No, wait! We're not rebels!
Face your death with some courage, thief.
You've got to tell them! We weren't with you! This is a mistake!
Step towards the block when we call your name. One at a time.
Empire loves their damn lists.
Ulfric Stormcloak, Jarl of Windhelm.
It has been an honor, Jarl Ulfric.
Ralof of Riverwood. Lokir of Rorikstead.
No! I'm not a rebel! You can't do this!
Halt!
You're not gonna kill me!
Archers! Anyone else feel like running?
Wait. You there. Step forward.
My character approaches the Imperial soldiers.
Who are you?
This is where the magic happens. This is where I got to formally create my character. Although not as detailed and in-depth as previous Elder Scrolls games, there are still some important choices to make here. When it comes to picking specific playstyles and classes, the different races and their strengths should be taken into account for the most optimal player progression. For my case, I just simply wanted to continue the legacy from when I played Skyrim for the first time. I made a high elf who pretty much just did whatever and knew no bounds or limits. I wanted to be a jack of all trades, master of none.
You are not with the Thalmor embassy, are you, High Elf? No, that can't be right. Captain, what should we do? He's not on the list.
Forget the list. He goes to the block.
By your orders, Captain. I'm sorry. We'll make sure you have a means of return to the Somerset Isle. Follow the captain, prisoner.
Things are looking more grim than ever, and it seems like there's very little hope of escaping.
Ulfric Stormcloak. Some here in Helgen call you a hero, but a hero doesn't use a power like the voice to murder his king and usurp his throne. You started this war, plunged Skyrim into chaos, and now the Empire is going to put you down and restore the peace.
What was that?
It's nothing. Carry on.
Yes, General Tullius. Give them their last rites.
As we commend your souls to Aetherius, blessings of the 8 divines upon
For
you.
the love of Talos, shut up and let's get this over with.
Nern,
As you wish.
Come on! I haven't got all morning. My ancestors are smiling at me, Imperials. Can you say the same?
In one fell swoop, the executioner lifts his axe and brings it down.
You Imperial bastards!
Justice!
Death to the Stormcloaks!
As fearless in death as he was in life.
Next, the High Elf!
Here it is again. Did you hear that?
I said, next, prisoner!
To the block, prisoner. Nice and easy.
The Aedra, the Daedra, Sithis, anything beyond, it seemed like at this point, nothing could quite save me.
What in oblivion is that?
Sentries, what do you see? Dragon!
Maybe not necessarily the Aedra or Daedra, but definitely something beyond. Chaos, mayhem, destruction. This ancient beast came down to Helgen at the right time, saving our lives, but in exchange, it's taking those belonging to others. Houses and keeps reduced to rubble, fire, smoke, and ash filling the air, screams of panic and distress are sprinkled into the sounds of battle. With nowhere else to go, I follow Ralof.
Jarl Ulfric, what is that thing? Could the legends be true?
Legends don't burn down villages.
We need to move, now! Up through the tower, let's go!
Ascending up the steps, the dragon bursts through the wall and kills a few more people. With nowhere else to go, Ralof directs me to jump across to the inn just below the tower. Doing so, I continue onwards and don't look back. I soon hear the voice of Hadvar, the kinder Imperial soldier.
That boy, you're doing great. Torolf! God! Everyone get back! Still alive, prisoner? Keep close to me if you want to stay that way. Gunnar, take care of the boy. I have to find General Tullius and join the defense.
Gods guide you, Hadvar.
Even though I was about to be executed by him and his faction, it seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders, and knows that now is not the time to pursue justice. Together, we move through the village, evading the dragon. Soon, we arrived on this so-called defense, and see that it's nothing but a slaughter against the villagers and soldiers. General Tullius directs everybody to run for the keep, and Hadvar and I make a break for it. Before getting to the doors though, we run into a familiar face.
Die! Ralof, you damn traitor! Out of my way!
We're escaping, Hathor. You're not stopping us this time.
Fine. I hope that dragon takes you all to Sovereign Guard.
You, come on! Into the keep! With me, prisoner. Let's go!
The game gives me the choice of escaping with the Imperials or the Stormcloaks. Either way leads to safety, and whoever I go with shouldn't matter that much. Although for some reason, it feels like a really heavy decision to make. With the dragon closing in on the remaining survivors, I chose to escape with Hadvar, leaving Ralof on his own.
Was that really a dragon? To bring us of the end times? We should keep moving. Come here. Let me see if I can get those bindings off. There you go. Take a look around. There should be plenty of gear to choose from. I'm going to see if I can find something for these burns.
Running over to the quest marker, I managed to get a hold of some basic combat gear. There was actually a decent amount of items for the taking, and I grabbed what I needed.
We need to get moving. That dragon is tearing up the whole keep.
Just give me a minute. I'm out of breath.
Hear that? Stormcloaks. Maybe we can reason with them. Hold up now. We only want... If you want to die...
Although a noble attempt, it seemed like the only way out was going to be through more violence. Once these Stormcloak survivors were taken care of, Hadvar and I continued to move through the keep. While it seemed like a good idea at first, the whole building was going to come down around us if we didn't leave soon.
Damn, that dragon doesn't give up easy.
As we moved through the dungeons, we continued to come across even more Stormcloak soldiers. The nice part though is that it seemed like the supplies were never ending, so I was able to stock up on a lot of consumables, weapons, and armor.
The torture room. Gods, I wish we didn't need these.
Eventually, Hadvar and I came across the first few friendly faces. The Torturer and Torturer's assistant were taking on a few of the Stormcloak rebels. Eliminating all of the threats, Hadvar warned them of the immediate danger.
You fellows happened along just in time. These boys seemed a bit upset at how I've been entertaining their comrades.
Don't you even know what's going on? A dragon is attacking Helgen.
A dragon? Please, don't make up nonsense. Although, come to think of it, I did hear some odd noises coming from over there.
Come with us. We need to get out of here.
You have no authority over me, boy.
Didn't you hear me? I said the keep is under attack.
Forget the old man. I'll come with you.
Wait a second. Looks like there's something in this cage.
Don't bother with that. Lost the key ages ago. Poor fellow screamed for weeks.
This is the game's introduction to lockpicking. Grabbing a few of the picks and gaining entrance inside of the cage, there are a few treasures and useful items laying around. Among them are some enchanted mage's robes, as well as a new spell tome. The three of us continued onwards through the dungeons until we reached a large group of rebels. We fought against them, allowing me to try out different forms of combat, as well as acquiring new weapons in general. The Torturer's assistant splits off, and now it's just Hadvar and I looking for a way out.
No going back that way. I guess we're lucky that didn't come down on top of us.
With the only way to go now being forward, we resumed our escape and ended up crossing over into some natural caverns. Now, there weren't any Stormcloak soldiers standing in our way, but instead, Skyrim's beasts and monsters.
That's the end of that. What next? Giant snakes?
Happening across a nifty headpiece, Hadvar spots yet another beast. However, this time, he suggests silently slipping past it.
Hold up. There's a bear just ahead. See her? I'd rather not tangle with her right now. You might be able to sneak by. Just take it nice and slow, and watch where you step. Or if you're feeling lucky, you can take this bow.
This serves as the game's introduction to sneaking. However, it can also be seen as an intro to stealth takedowns. Just beyond the bear, Hadvar and I see some light at the end of the tunnel.
This looks like the way out. I was starting to wonder if we'd ever make it.
Finally exiting the caverns, the dragon does one last flyover. Leaving the ruins of Helgen, it flies north, twists around the mountains, and disappears.
Looks like he's gone for good this time. But I don't think we should stick around to see if he comes back. Closest town from here is Riverwood. My uncle's the blacksmith there. I'm sure he'd help you out. It's probably best if we split up. Good luck. I wouldn't have made it without your help today.
With a close call and a narrow escape from death, I'm now free to roam around the lands of Skyrim in search of adventure and my own destiny. Thus ends the quest, Unbound. Even though Hadvar wanted to split up, we both ended up running along the path together, and it was during this time that he provided some valuable insight on the world around me, as well as gave me an enticing offer.
Listen, you should go to Solitude and join up with the Imperial Legion. We could really use someone like you. And if the rebels have themselves a dragon, General Tullius is the only one who can stop them. See that ruin up there? Bleak Falls Barrow. When I was a boy, that place always used to give me nightmares. Draugr creeping down the mountain to climb through my window at night. That kind of thing. I admit, I still don't much like the look of it. These are the Guardian Stones. 3 of the 13 ancient standing stones that dot Skyrim's landscape. Go ahead, see for yourself.
Here, I got to pick between the 3 signs: the warrior, the mage, or the thief. As of right now, I was mostly focusing on weapon-based combat, so I went with the warrior stone and kept moving along. Soon, we arrived at Riverwood, and Hadvar approached his uncle, Alvor the smith.
Uncle Alvor, hello. Hadvar, what are you doing here? Are you on leave from Shores, Bones? What happened to you, boy?
Shh, Uncle, please, keep your voice down. I'm fine, but we should go inside to talk.
What's going on? And who's this?
He's a friend. Saved my life, in fact. Come on, I'll explain everything, but we need to go inside.
Okay, come inside then. Sigrid will get you something to eat, and you can tell me all about it.
Entering into Alvor's home, Hadvar sat down and explained everything. The dragon attack, Helgen's destruction, etc. Of course, no one believed him at first, but after insisting on it being the truth, his uncle started to take him seriously. Alvor gave me a small care package and then an urgent task.
The Jarl needs to know if there's a dragon on the loose. Riverwood is defenseless. We need to get word to Jarl Balgruuf in Whiterun to send whatever soldiers he can. If you'll do that for me, I'll be in your debt.
I asked Alvor for directions up to Whiterun.
Cross the river and then head north. You'll see it just past the falls. When you get to Whiterun, just keep going up. When you get to the top of the hill, you're at Dragon's Reach, the Jarl's palace.
Exiting the conversation, I left Riverwood pretty much as quickly as I arrived in it. The carved out roads were obvious enough to follow, and they were relatively safe. Of course, there would be the odd aggressive animal that emerged from the bushes, but nothing too hard to handle. Along the path was a small group of Imperial soldiers, escorting a Stormcloak prisoner. I wondered if they were also from Helgen, but given their lack of fear and distress, I doubted it. The rest of the way was a simple walk, and I soon spotted Whiterun in the distance. Getting within proximity of its gates, I approached the entrance and was halted by a guard.
Halt! City's closed with the dragons about. Official business only.
I made attempts to persuade him with news from Helgen.
Fine. But we'll be keeping an eye on you.
Entering inside of the city, Whiterun was vibrant, colorful, and full of life. Everybody I passed seemed to have their own agendas, schedules, and woes. Staying on task, I maneuvered throughout the city, following Alvor's advice, and ascended all the way up to the Jarl's Keep, Dragon's Reach. Entering inside, I could hear some kind of argument going on. Getting in closer, a Dunmer drew her weapon and slowly approached me.
Just think we need more information.
What's the meaning of this interruption? Jarl Balgruuf is not receiving visitors.
I told her that I had news of the dragon attack.
Well, that explains why the guards let you in. Come on then. The Jarl will want to speak to you personally.
She escorted me over to Jarl Balgruuf the Greater.
So, you were at Helgen. You saw this dragon with your own eyes?
I told him yes, and that the dragon was on its way here.
By Ysmir, Irileth was right. What do you say now, Proventus? Shall we continue to trust in the strength of our walls? Against the dragon?
My lord, we should send troops to Riverwood at once. It's in the most immediate danger. If
The Jarl
that dragon is lurking in the
will
mountains...
view that as a provocation. He'll assume we're preparing to join Ulfric's side and attack him. We should not...
Enough! I'll not stand idly by while the dragon burns my hold and slaughters my people. Irileth, send a detachment to Riverwood at once.
Yes, my Jarl.
If you'll excuse me, I'll return to my duties.
That would be best. Well done. You sought me out on your own initiative. You've done Whiterun a service, and I won't forget it. Here, take this as a small token of my esteem. There is another thing you could do for me. Suitable for someone of your particular talents, perhaps. Come, let's go find Farengar, my court wizard. He's been looking into a matter related to these dragons and rumors of dragons.
With that, thus ends the quest before the storm. Following the Jarl, he led me into one of the side rooms and began speaking with his court wizard.
Farengar, I think I've found someone who can help you with your dragon project. Go ahead and fill him in with all the details.
So the Jarl thinks you can be of use to me. Oh yes, he must be referring to my research into the dragons. Yes, I could use someone to fetch something for me. Well, when I say fetch, I really mean delve into a dangerous ruin in search of an ancient stone tablet that may or may not actually be there.
I ask him where I'm going and what I'm going for.
Straight to the point, eh? No need for tedious hows and whys. I like that. Leave those details to your betters, am I right? I, learned of a certain stone tablet said to be housed in Bleak Barrow. A dragon stone, said to contain a map of dragon burial sites. Go to Bleak Barrow, find this tablet, no doubt interred in the main chamber, and bring it to me. Simplicity itself.
I asked him if there was anything more he could tell me about this place.
An old tomb, built by the ancient Nords, perhaps dating back to the Dragon War itself. Ah, maybe you just want to know how to get there. It's near Riverwood, a miserable little village a few miles south of here. I'm sure some of the locals can point you in the right direction once you get there.
Finally, I asked him how he could be sure about the tablet's whereabouts.
Well, must preserve some professional secrets, mustn't we? I have my sources. Reliable sources.
This is a priority now.
with you.
Anything we can use to fight this dragon, or dragons. We need it quickly, before it's too late.
I'm sure he will prove most useful.
Succeed at this, and you'll be rewarded. Whiterun will be in your debt.
Exiting the conversation and leaving Dragon's Reach, I popped open the vast and detailed world map. Using the game's built-in fast-traveling system, I returned back to Riverwood. It's funny how things come to full circles. Hadvar was just telling me about his fear of Bleak Barrow, and here I am about to adventure inside of it. I crossed the river and began scaling my way up the mountain. Soon, I found an easier pathway and even ran into an oddly familiar face.
Maik can travel fast across the land. Some lazy types take carriages. It is all the same to Maik.
About halfway up was an abandoned tower. The structure was teeming with bandits, and they decided to pick a fight with me. I cut, slashed, and stabbed my way through the crowd. Continuing along, I soon found myself standing outside the ancient Nordic ruins. Posted on the outside were more bandits, which I needed to defeat. Once they were taken care of, I was free to enter inside of Bleak Barrow. Pretty much immediately within the dungeon, I spotted two bandits conversing with one another. Sneaking my way up to them, I heard mention of something called a Golden Claw, and this added a new side quest to my journal. Taking them out, I looted what I could and continued along. The ruins were definitely a fantastic sight. They displayed old Nordic craftsmanship, and a lot of the objects found in here are unlike any that I would have seen in Skyrim's modern cities. The pathways twisted and turned, leading me further into the burrows. For a while, there weren't any signs of life, until I caught up to one of the bandits. He seemed focused on a task, so I decided to lay low and watch him. He advanced towards a lever and pulled it, although the outcome was not in his favor. Wanting to avoid his mistake, I surveyed the room for any puzzles that might lay about. On the upper walls behind the gate were two unique designs etched into some metal. One was of a snake, and the other a whale. On the ground beside the lever was another one of those designs, also depicting a snake. On the walls to the left were three pillars that could be spun around, each having etchings that were identical to those on the floor and back walls. Putting two and two together, I lined up the pillars in order of their signifiers and tried the lever. It worked, and the gate was lifted. On the other side, there were a couple of treasures that I helped myself to. Descending down some stairs and exterminating some pesky skeevers, I delved further into the dungeon and began to hear a voice call out to me.
Is someone coming? Is that you, Haknir? Bjorn? Zoling? I know I ran ahead of you, but I need help.
The path ahead was covered in so many spiderwebs that I had to slash my way through them. This brought me out into an open room, and I managed to find the person connected to the voice, although I got a little more than I bargained for. Taking on the giant frostbite spider, it had a hefty amount of health, and its ability to poison me was going to prove rough in the long run. Switching over to destruction magic, I cast a bunch of fire spells at it, hoping that would do the trick. After some time and continued efforts, I was able to kill the thing, and then get a closer look at the entangled man.
You did it, you killed it. Now cut me down before anything else shows up.
I asked him where the golden claw was.
Yes, the claw. I know how it works. The claw, the markings, the door in the Hall of Stories. I know how they all fit together. Help me down and I'll show you. You won't believe the power the Nords have hidden there.
I asked for the claw first.
Does it look like I can move? You have to cut me down first.
Taking out my sword, I slashed through the webs until Arvel was released. He stood up, and then sure enough, began running away.
You fool. Why should I share the treasure with anyone?
Catching up to him and ending his life quickly, I looked through his inventory and found the golden claw. In there, he also had a journal. Taking a peek at it, it detailed how the claw originally came from someone named Lucan Valerius. It's apparently used to unlock a door at the Hall of Stories. And there's an old Nord saying that goes, when you have the golden claw, the solution is in the palm of your hands. Closing the journal and continuing along, I found myself in an ancient Nord crypt. Here, there were plenty of well-preserved bodies lining the walls. And what's more, a few of them came back to life. These undead beings are known as the Draugr, and they act as the protectors and guardians of these Nordic tombs. They're unique to spirits and zombies, however, as they fight using traditional weapons, and even have the ability to speak in tongues. The rest of Bleak Falls Barrow mostly comprised of facing off against regular and restless Draugr. They would arise from their tombs and carved out slots in order to face any who tread on their sacred grounds. The scenes and settings changed from old Nordic masonry to natural caverns and back again. Soon, I found myself onto the next zone, Bleak Falls Sanctum. Within, there were more traps to scurry past and Draugr to put down. However, this would be the last batch of regular enemies, as soon I found myself inside the Hall of Stories. At the other end of the room was a rather peculiar door. On it were 3 different sliders that could be turned, presenting me with a new emblem. These were also in similar designs to the animals from the last puzzle, and remembering Arvel's journal, I took a closer look at the golden claw. On its palm were 3 markings that matched those seen on the door. So, lining them up with their corresponding emblem, I placed the claw in the holes, and the contraption began to open. Running on through, I was then brought to a great open cave. There were various empty coffins littered around, as well as smaller treasures for the taking. Towards the back of it though, there was a mound of sorts. It looked old and of great importance. There was a sealed tomb surrounded by greater treasures, but most interestingly, a wall of odd-looking inscriptions. Getting in close, some form of power from one of the words seemed to be drawn to me. Energy began emanating towards me, and suddenly, I was filled with knowledge from the so-called Word of Power. Unsure of what had just happened, I didn't have very much time to process it as I heard a noise behind me. A lone, mighty, and strong Draugr burst out from its crypt and drew its weapon. This one was a Draugr overlord, and the most powerful one I've had to face yet. It shouted at me using some unseen power, and my character staggered back. Fortunately though, I was able to get in close and began to swing around my warhammer. I caused it to flinch and step back, allowing me to come out on top. On its inventory was some gold, an enchanted weapon, and most importantly, the Dragonstone tablet. Taking all 3, along with the treasures that lay inside of the chest and near the tomb, I followed a new pathway that ended up being a shortcut out of here. Exiting back out into Skyrim, I popped open my map and fast traveled back to Dragon's Reach. Entering inside of the keep, I rushed over to Farengar to deliver the map. However, it seemed like he was already busy with another visitor.
You see? The terminology is clearly First Era or even earlier. I'm convinced this is a copy of a much older text. Perhaps dating to just after the Dragon War. If so, I could use this to cross-reference the names with other later texts.
Good. I'm glad you're making progress. My employers are anxious to have some tangible answers.
Oh, have no fear. The Jarl himself has finally taken an interest, so I'm now able to devote most of my time to this research.
Time is running, Farengar, don't forget. This isn't some theoretical question. Dragons have come back.
Yes, don't worry. Although the chance to see a living dragon up close would be tremendously valuable. Now, let me show you something else I found. Very intriguing. I think your employers may be interested as well. Ah, yes, the Jarl's protege. Back from Bleak Falls Barrow. You didn't die, it seems. Ah, the Dragon Stone of Bleak Falls Barrow. Seems you are a cut above the usual brutes the Jarl sends my way.
I ask him about my reward.
You'll have to see the Jarl about that. Maybe his steward Avenici. I'm sure one of them will pay you appropriately. My associate here will be pleased to see your handiwork. She discovered its location by means she has so far declined to share with me. So your information was correct after all. And we have our friend here to thank for recovering it for us.
You went into Bleak Falls Barrow and got that? Nice work. Just send me a copy when you've deciphered it.
Farengar, you need to come at once. A dragon's been sighted nearby. You should come too.
A dragon? How exciting. Where was it seen? What was it doing?
I'd take this a bit more seriously if I were you. If a dragon decides to attack Whiterun, I don't know if we can stop it.
As the three of us head to the upper levels of the keep, Farengar's mysterious friend takes her leave. With that, thus ends the quest, Bleak Falls Barrow. At the top of the stairs, Jarl Balgruuf is waiting to receive us.
Western Watchtower?
Yes, my lord.
Tell him what you told me about the dragon.
Oh, that's right. We saw it coming from the south. It was fast. Faster than anything I've ever seen.
What did it do? Is it attacking the Watchtower?
No, my lord. It was just circling overhead when I left. I never ran so fast in my life. I thought it would come after me, for sure.
Good work, son. We'll take it from here. Head down to the barracks for some food and rest. You've earned it. Irileth, you'd better gather some guardsmen and get down there.
I've already ordered my men to muster near the main gate.
Good. Don't fail me. There's no time to stand on ceremony, my friend. I need your help again. I want you to go with Irileth and help her fight this dragon. You survived Helgen, so you have more experience with dragons than anyone else here. But I haven't forgotten the service you did for me in retrieving the Dragon Stone for Farengar. As a token of my esteem, I have instructed Avenici that you are now permitted to purchase property in the city. And please, accept this gift from my personal armory. Help Irileth kill this dragon before it can attack Whiterun. No, I can't afford to risk both of you. I need you here working on ways to defend the city against these dragons.
As you command.
One last thing, Irileth. This isn't a death or glory mission. I need to know what we're dealing with.
Don't worry, my lord. I'm the very soul of caution.
It was now time to finally bring the fight to the dragon. Before I could set off though, the Jarl's armor that he gifted me put me over the weight limit, and attempting to dump some of my gear got me in trouble.
You shouldn't leave weapons laying around. Someone could get hurt. If I see you doing it again, that someone will be you.
I quickly dabbled with some enchantments, sold off my extra gear and goods, and then raced off to the Western Watchtower. Running through the fields and rocky terrain, I soon caught up with the rest of the garrison and laid eyes on a familiar sight.
It sure looks like he's been here. I know it looks bad, but we've got to figure out what happened. And if that dragon is still skulking around somewhere. Spread out and look for survivors. We need to know what we're dealing with.
Getting in close, the scene looked exactly as it did back in Helgen. Death and destruction. The smoke from the fires could be seen from miles away, and everything seemed freshly demolished, yet no sign of the dragon. Approaching the interior of the tower, a lone soldier began to make his way out.
No, get back. It's still here somewhere. Crocky and Tor just got grabbed when they tried to make a run for it.
Guardsman, what happened here? Where's this dragon? Quickly now!
I don't know.
All of a sudden, he spots something in the sky.
Kinneret, save us. Here he comes again.
Here he comes! Find cover, and make every arrow count!
The roars and screeches get louder and louder.
Tolo, save us!
Over here!
The dragon comes flying in at top speed and begins to breathe fire. Every available body has their bow and arrow out, taking pot shots at the fearsome foe. After some time, it finally comes down from the sky and lands in front of us. It flails its tail, slaps its wings, and breathes more deadly flames. It's certainly a tough fight, and if we don't put it down soon, then there's unlikely to be any survivors. Finally, the dragon descended to the ground one final time and moved in for close combat. Its health was low, and its body was battered and bloodied. I got right up in its face and closed out the fight.
Is it dead?
The dragon lay motionless on the ground. Similar to the word wall back in Bleak Falls Barrow, I began to absorb some sort of power from it. In what felt like a brief moment, its scales and skin disintegrated, blew towards me, and I felt a surge of energy. Earlith and the guardsmen gathered around and stood in awe, staring at me and the pile of dragon bones. The game prompted me to go into my magic menu and perform a shout. This ability comes from the combined efforts of the word wall and the soul of the dragon. Using unrelenting force, one of the guardsmen finally spoke up.
I can't believe it. You're Dragonborn.
I asked him what he meant by that.
In the very oldest tales, back from when there were still dragons in Skyrim, the Dragonborn would slay dragons and steal their power. That's what you did, isn't it? Absorb the dragon's power.
I told him that I'm not exactly sure what happened.
Well, you can shout now. You couldn't before, right? That can only mean one thing. You must be Dragonborn.
Dragonborn? What are you talking about?
That's right. My grandfather used to tell stories about the Dragonborn. Those born with the dragon blood in them. Like old Tiber Septim himself.
I've never heard of Tiber Septim killing any dragons.
There weren't any dragons then, idiot. They're just coming back now for the first time in forever. But the old tales tell of the Dragonborn who could kill dragons and steal their power. You must be one.
What do you say, Earleth? You're being awfully quiet. Come on, Earleth. Tell us, do you believe in this Dragonborn business?
Some of you would be better off keeping quiet than flapping your gums on matters you don't know anything about. Here's a dead dragon, and that's something I definitely understand. Now we know we can kill them. But I don't need some mythical Dragonborn. Someone who can put down a dragon is more than enough for me.
You wouldn't understand, Houseguard. You ain't a Norn.
I've been all across Tamriel. I've seen plenty of things just as outlandish as this. I'd advise you all to trust in the strength of your sword arm over tales and legends.
That was shouting, what you just did. Must be. You really are Dragonborn, then.
This is certainly a lot to take in, and I wasn't exactly sure how to process it all. It seems a little too good to be true, and it isn't a legend I've heard of before, but at the same time, dragons were previously extinct, and now they're roaming across the lands again. Before I could do anything else, I needed to return to Dragon's Reach and speak with Jarl Balgruuf. On my way back, I heard another really strange sound. Hoping that it wasn't more dragons, I made haste and reached the city. Entering into the Jarl's Keep, there were more arguments and discussions going on.
Good. You're finally here. The Jarl's been waiting for you.
You heard the summons. What else could it mean?
The Greybeards.
We were just talking about you. My brother needs a word with you. So what happened at the watchtower? Was the dragon there?
I told him the dragon was killed, but the tower was destroyed.
I knew I could count on Irileth, but there must be more to it than that.
I tell him that everybody there seemed to think I was the Dragonborn.
Dragonborn? What do you know about the Dragonborn?
I mentioned that when the dragon died, I absorbed some kind of power from it.
So it's true. The Greybeards really were summoning you.
I question who the Greybeards are.
Masters of the Way of the Voice. They live in seclusion high on the slopes of the throat of the world.
I asked him what they could have wanted with me.
The Dragonborn is said to be uniquely gifted in the voice. The ability to focus your vital essence into a thum, or shout. If you really are Dragonborn, they can teach you how to use your gift.
Didn't you hear the thundering sound as you returned to Whiterun? That was the voice of the Greybeards, summoning you to High Hrothgar. This hasn't happened in centuries, at least. Not since Tiber Septim himself was summoned when he was still Talos of Atmora.
Rungar, calm yourself. What does any of this Nord nonsense have to do with our friend here? Capable as he may be, I don't see any signs of him being this, Dragonborn.
Nord nonsense? Why, you puffed up ignorant. These are our sacred traditions that go back to the founding of the First Empire.
Rungar, don't be so hard on Avenici.
I meant no disrespect, of course. It's just that, what do these Greybeards want with him?
That's the Greybeards' business, not ours. Whatever happened when you killed that dragon, it revealed something in you, and the Greybeards heard it. If they think you're Dragonborn, who are we to argue? You'd better get up to High Hrothgar immediately. There's no refusing the summons of the Greybeards. It's a tremendous honor. You've done a great service for me and my city, Dragonborn. By my right as Jarl, I name you Thane of Whiterun. It's the greatest honor that's within my power to grant. I assign you Lydia as a personal housecarl, and this weapon from my armory to serve as your badge of office. I'll also notify my guards of your new title. Wouldn't want them to think you're part of the common rabble, now would we? We are honored to have you as Thane of our city, Dragonborn. Back to business, Proventus. We still have a city to defend.
Yes, my lord.
With the immediate threat of the dragon dead, it's time to answer the call of the Greybeards. With that, thus ends the quest, Dragon Rising. On my way out of Dragon's Reach, I was stopped by a stranger.
The Jarl has appointed me to be your housecarl. It's an honor to serve you.
I ask her what it means to be a Thane.
The Jarl has recognized you as a person of great importance in the Hold. A hero. The title of Thane is an honor, a gift for your service. Guards will know to look the other way if you tell them who you are.
I've got my first follower, but for now, I prefer to travel solo. Exiting Dragon's Reach, I dumped some of my goods and leveled up my smithing. Before meeting with the Greybeards, I quickly wanted to take care of some unfinished business. I traveled over to Riverwood and went inside of the trade house. The owner, Lucan Valerius, was the very same as the one Arvel had mentioned in his journal, with regards to the Golden Claw. Inside, he was arguing with a woman, seemingly about the claw itself. When the conversation was finished, I approached him.
Yeah, well, I don't know what you overheard, but the Riverwood Trader is still open. Feel free to shop. Yeah, we did have a bit of a break-in, but we still have plenty to sell. Robbers were only after one thing. An ornament, solid gold in the shape of a dragon's claw.
I asked him if it's the one I have.
You found it! There it is! Strange. It seems smaller than I remember. Funny thing, huh? I'm gonna put this back where it belongs. I'll never forget this. You've done a great thing for me and my sister.
With that taken care of, it was now time to seek out the hermits. Popping open the map, the quest marker was bringing me over to the village of Iverstead. that was on the eastern side of the mountain, and at the time, it seemed like my best bet was going to be taking the road around it. I traveled to Hunting Brew Meadery and began my journey. The beginning of the trek was fairly straightforward. Along the road, I had run into a man who was collecting ingredients in order to impress a famous chef named the Gourmet. A little further in, I passed by an abandoned watchtower, except it was being occupied by bandits. I was going to leave them alone, but they wanted to pick a fight with me.
Hold it. This here's a toll road, see? You're gonna have to hand over, say, 200 gold if you want to use our road.
Warhammer in hand, I killed everybody on sight, including their chief. Continuing along, I passed by two men on the road, each on their own journey to join with one of the two warring sides of the province. Soon, I went off-road, swam through a river, and ended up making it to the town of Iverstead. Shooting straight for the steps, I overheard two men bantering about needing to bring some supplies up. Curious, I waited until they were finished and asked one of them about it.
Passing through on your way to High Hrothgar? About to make a delivery up there myself.
I asked him if there was anything he could tell me about it.
I've been to the monastery many times, but I've never even laid eyes on one of the Greybeards. Not that I'd care to. Being masters of the Thu'um, they could kill you by uttering a single word. Well, not that they would. They seem peaceful, but I wouldn't want to provoke them.
I asked him about the deliveries he makes and what he gets in return. And then, to be nice, I told him that I could make the trek. He handed me a bag of supplies, and then I was off to climb the 7,000 steps. Along the way, there were 10 etched tablets that could be read and were a part of the whole pilgrimage. I ran into the first one immediately, and it read, "Before the birth of men, the dragons ruled all Mundus. Their word was the voice, and they spoke only for true needs. For the voice could blot out the sky and flood the land. For the most part, Klimek was right on what I'd have to deal with here. Occasionally, the lone wolf would be guarding the path, and I'd have to slay it. I soon came across the second etched tablet. Standing before it was a Nord named Barknar, and he himself was actually embarking on his own personal pilgrimage. The second emblem read, "Men were born and spread over the face of Mundus. The dragons presided over the crawling masses. Men were weak then and had no voice." The wolves kept coming, but again, they weren't really much of an issue. Soon, I came across the third tablet, and it read, "The fledgling spirits of men were strong in old times, unafraid to war with dragons and their voices. But the dragons only shouted them down and broke their hearts." At this point into the climb, the conditions were certainly getting worse, and my visibility was lowered, but from what I could see, the views were stunning and beautiful. At the fourth emblem, I came across another pilgrim, and her name was Karita. However, she chose not to share what she was here for, and we pretty much left it at that. The fourth emblem read, "Kin called on Parthenax who pitied man. Together, they taught men to use the voice. Then Dragon War raged, dragon against tongue." It was this next part where I faced my greatest challenge. Atop a small overlook, jumping around and acting aggressive, was a frost troll. It spotted me and came charging in for the attack. Knowing trolls are weak to fire, I switched over to my destruction magic. However, it struck me with such a force that if I got hit anymore, I would have been bested. I backed up and threw as much fire at it as I possibly could have. In between my magicka regen, its health would slowly also regenerate, so I had extra work cut out for me. With patience and repetition, the beast was defeated. Just past the troll was the fifth emblem. It reads, "Man prevailed, shouting Alduin out of the world, proving for all that their voice too was strong, although their sacrifices were many-fold." Soon there was the sixth emblem, and it read, "With roaring tongues the Sky Children conquer, founding the first empire with sword and voice, whilst the dragons withdrew from this world." Following that was the seventh emblem. It read, "The tongues at Red Mountain went away humbled. Jurgen Windcaller began his 7-year meditation to understand how strong voices could fail." After that was the eighth emblem, and it read, "Jurgen Windcaller chose silence and returned. The 17 disputants could not shout him down. Jurgen the Calm built his home on the throat of the world." Finally, I had laid eyes on High Hrothgar. For being as old and secluded as it was, it certainly held up in great condition. Just before the final steps was the ninth emblem, and it read, "For years all silent, the Greybeards spoke one name. Tiber Septim, stripling then, was summoned to Hrothgar. They blessed and named him Dovahkiin." Climbing up the last bit was the 10th and final emblem. It read, "The voices worship, follow the inner path, speak only in true need." Making this pilgrimage granted me with the temporary active effect called the Voice of the Sky. At the base of the keep was a chest in which I placed Klimek's supplies. Finally reaching the top, I was able to enter inside of High Hrothgar. The air in here was still and calm. It was like everything and nothing were happening all at once. From each corner of the room, 4 old men in robes slowly began walking towards me. Soon, one of them broke the silence.
So, a Dragonborn appears at this moment in the turning of the age.
I asked him what it means to be called Dragonborn.
First, let us see if you truly are Dragonborn. Let us taste of your voice.
The Greybeards back up, and so do I. As per his request, I shout at them using unrelenting force.
Dragonborn, it is you. Welcome to High Hrothgar. I am Master Arngir. I speak for the Greybeards. Now, tell me, Dragonborn, why have you come here?
I tell him that I wish to find out what it means to be Dragonborn.
We are here to guide you in that pursuit, just as the Greybeards have sought to guide those of the dragon blood that came before you.
I ask if that means I'm not the only Dragonborn.
You are not the first. There have been many of the dragon blood since Akatosh first bestowed that gift upon mortal kind. Whether you are the only Dragonborn of this age, that is not ours to know. You are the only one that has been revealed thus far. That is all I can say.
I ask him who they are and what this place is.
We are the Greybeards, followers of the Way of the Voice. You stand in High Hrothgar, on the slopes of Kinnarith's sacred mountain. Here we commune with the voice of the sky, and strive to achieve balance between our inner and outer selves.
I tell Arngir that I'm ready to learn.
You have shown that you are Dragonborn. You have the inborn gift. But do you have the discipline and temperament to follow the path laid out for you? That remains to be seen. Without training, you have already taken the first steps towards projecting your voice into a thum, a shout. Now let us see if you are willing and able to learn. When you shout, you speak in the language of dragons. Thus, your dragon blood gives you an inborn ability to learn words of power. All shouts are made up of 3 words of power. As you master each word, your shout will become progressively stronger. Master Einarth will now teach you Ro, the second word in Unrelenting Force. Ro means balance in the dragon tongue. Combine it with Fus, force, to focus your thumb more sharply. Ro.
Approaching the inscriptions on the ground, similar to what happened back at Bleak Falls Barrow, I absorbed some kind of power from it.
You learn a new word like a master. You truly do have the gift. But learning a word of power is only the first step. You must unlock its meaning through constant practice in order to use it in a shout. Well, that is how the rest of us learn shouts. As Dragonborn, you can absorb a slain dragon's life force and knowledge directly. As part of your initiation, Master Einarth will allow you to tap into his understanding of Ro.
And similar to how I absorbed the power from the dragon, a strange energy-like connection is formed between me and Master Einarth.
Now, let us see how quickly you can master your new thum. Use your unrelenting force shout to strike the targets as they appear.
Now, instead of simply just using the force part of Unrelenting Force, I could add balance in order to create a stronger thum. Instead of a simple step back, the enemy staggers and loses their footing.
Impressive. Your thum is precise. You show great promise, Dragonborn. We will perform your next trial in the courtyard. Follow Master Bori.
Exiting the keep, the 5 of us wandered towards what looked like another test.
We will now see how you learn a completely new shout. Master Bori will teach you Wuld, which means whirlwind.
He cast the inscription on the ground, and just like before, I was able to absorb its power.
You must hear the word within yourself before you can project it into a thum. Approach Master Bori and he will gift you his knowledge of wood. Now we will see how quickly you can master a new shout. Master Wulfgar will demonstrate Whirlwind Sprint. Then it will be your turn.
The gates open, and with a few words, Nori beams across the courtyard like a bolt of lightning. Next, it's my turn, and as soon as the gates open, I'm able to travel a short distance at a rapid speed.
Your quick mastery of a new thum is astonishing. I'd heard the stories of the abilities of Dragonborn, but to see it for myself...
I tell him that I'm not sure how I do it, as it happens naturally.
You were given this gift by the gods for a reason. It is up to you to determine how best to use it. You are now ready for your last trial. Retrieve the horn of Jürgen Windcaller, our founder, from his tomb in the ancient fane of Ostengrav. Remain true to the way of the voice, and you will return.
With new abilities in my arsenal comes more dangerous trials and tasks. However, I'm eager to prove myself and discover what it really means to be Dragonborn. With that, thus ends the quest, The Way of the Voice.